Namaste, immortal spirit energies. Namaste. Remember, the teacher, student in me acknowledges and honors their student, teachers, and yous. Okay? So as we get back to current events, right? We get back to unfucking this fuckery. So there's an article from ABC News dated July 17th, 2021 at 7 a.m. Today is July 17th, 2021 at 8:45 a.m. And it says, it's titled, Biden said crime isn't a red or blue issue, it's an American issue. What do Americans think? Well, it's an issue of green. It's not red or blue, it's an issue of green.
And me, a native North American.
Guys and gals who have incentivized.
That's where I'm native too. However,
created incentives.
We have the right to go all around the planet that you guys have denied.
Which you guys have deemed criminal. Yet, yous are criminals in your own rights, in your own man-made, fictitious,
woman-made,
playground,
fictitious, right?
So we know that the issue has to do with you guys, you know, your greenbacks, your currencies, whichever they convert to, it's all the same. You guys have been deriving your currencies from stealing our currencies, our own energy, our priceless existences, right? Namaste, immortal spirit energies. Namaste. To believe that you are the body. You've been conditioned to believe that you are the body, and that particular body is categorized into a color. Hurry up and cut those ties. What is that doing? This existence, right? So we're gonna just go into another article here, because the main one that we were looking for earlier, which is sort of seems to be slipping away, right? But I can quote it. It said, you know, commenting, it's two people, it was Biden and also the AFC person. You know, it was an article regarding that, and they're commenting and saying that Cuba is a failed communist system, which seems to be a Freudian slip for them being okay for a successful communist system. Shame, 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 right? Because if anything, anarchy is free from being controlled. And naturally, don't nobody need to be controlled. Now, unnaturally, those that get conditioned and groomed to be serial killer types, those ones you need to be aware of. Fortunately, I feel confident in y'all's ability to overcome weak-ass, sadistic, wannabe superior types, right? Because nature...
want to be almighty.
You know, we know the most almighties,
right?
Which are the planets, the sun, right? The planets, the air, which without the bodies, whichever type of bodies you got, except maybe
pentagram,
not robotic bodies,
represents.
But any other types of bodies need oxygen. And remember this, immortal spirit energies, you are not your bodies. So if your bodies die, which they will die, that's not an if, they will die. Don't be attached to it. Don't identify to it. If you've already been conditioned to believe that you are the body, you've been conditioned to believe that you are the body, and that particular body is categorized into a color, hurry up and cut those ties. What is that doing? That is oppressing you. That is having you oppress yourself, period. Okay? Let's see if we can just find this.
Putting yourself under their spell.
Because then we're gonna move on to show you the origins, the etymology of the word communism. Let's see here. Well, I did take a photo of it. I'd rather read, from its source.
EtymologyOnlineDictionary.com.
And these things, this particular one right here, what we're referring to, this is from off of abcnews.go.com. Okay, that particular article that I just read. Let's see.
Referring to them suggesting that Cuba's a failed communist system.
That's very interesting. The article is not there. Let me just go ahead and pull it up.
Suggesting that a successful communist system is acceptable. And in fact, they just dressing the shit up as if it's not the same with their synonyms and antonyms and stuff to try to distract and get you stuck in their web.
Well, rather than continue to look for it, it was said, I've read 2 different articles where they said specifically, North American government officials said specifically that Cuba is a failed communist system. Why in the fuck would they even classify whether it failed or was a success if they are not for a communist system? And then they have the fucking audacity to want to suggest that an anarchic system, which is a natural system, which is her and historic system, right? We have not been the barbarians. We have not technically in your own language that you created, have not been the savages, so to speak. Right? So, let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead on to the etymology of the word communism. Right? And we're just going here just because they want to cite it and bring this up. Right? So, we got communism as the noun. Which, what is a noun? It describes a person, place, or a thing. Right? Remember, language is very powerful. It can command you, right? So, we have communism as a noun, 1843. In quotes, social system based on collective ownership, from French communisme, and excuse me if the pronunciation of the different language is not accurate. You get the picture. From common, Old French common, in quotes, general, free, open, public, end quotes. See common as the adjective, plus isme, see ism as the suffix. Originally a theory of society as the name of a political or economic theory which rests upon the abolition of the right of private property. I'm going to read that again for you. Originally a theory of society as the name of a political or economic theory which rests upon the abolition of the right of private property, especially the means of production and distribution, and seeks the overthrow of capitalism by revolution. It is attested from 1850, a translation of German Kommunismus, itself from French, in Marx and Engels' Manifesto of the Communist Party, compared communists. By 1919 and through the mid-20th century, it was a general term of abuse for revolutionaries, implying anti-social criminality without regard to political theory. Isn't that funny? Let's reread that, okay? It was a term of abuse for revolutionaries, implying anti-social criminality without regard to political theory. each, for example, socialism, communism, anarchism, stands for a state of things or a striving after it that differs much from that which we know. And for many of us, especially those who are comfortably at home in the world as it is, they have consequently come to be the positive, comparative, and superlative, distinguished not in kind but in degree only, of the terms of abuse applicable to those who would disturb our peace. Fowler. Now, the related entries for communism. And let's just go back here for just 1 minute, okay? Because in Fowler's description here, okay, he or she is explaining Fowler is explaining that those things, socialism, communism, anarchism, stands for a state of things or a striving after it that differs much from that which they know. And for many of them, especially those who are comfortably at home in the world as it is. Now, those of we who have overcome police brutality, being held captive by them sadistic, serial killing wannabe as idolizing individual employees with their employer.
They're frauds.
Want to be pimps and
fabricators.
Right. Want to be pimps. Want to be what else? Want to be pimps.
Psychopaths.
Want to be authoritarian.
Psychopaths. Sexual deviant.
Because I don't know about you
males
guys
and
and gals. You know, with all of the love, the unconditional love and the nurturing that was provided, that is provided by our caregivers from the moment that we materialized, manifested into these physical bodies.
And the word "it" shouldn't be offensive to anybody, because unless you plan on procreating or sexually, you know,
to those that allowed us to, that assisted us in that, we still have
comforting
a lot of credit for that, right?
Another living being.
So
what body
the point
their
is
sex
that
is
while
not
they
so
want to use
business.
Gestapo's type of
it's
tactics,
none of your business.
But
so referring to another as
down,
because you know,
put disguises on it,
because you want to include
right?
both the masculine and feminine
like
energy, which one is
idolizing.
Get it together. Get your balance in order.
In all complexions, in all religions, the three main religions. Let me correct that. The three main religions and the derivatives of those three main religions.
That's responsible for what?
Because we can go ahead and do a history, you know, her history refreshment for you guys and gals. However, I'd rather just have those that's caught up, that's up here in the present moment with we to continue forward. Okay? So what are we going to do? We're going to go to the Proto-Indo-European root, although communism as the noun is dates from 1843, 1840 to 1843, right? So let's go ahead. The word communist is from 1841, which is after, it's sort of in between. So we're going to go ahead and check it out, just because it says compare. Communist, although communism, it says see common, and then ism as the suffix, right? So let's go ahead. We're going to go to communist, where it says communist, and this is the etymology or mind dictionary. Anybody can look this up. Doesn't take a rocket scientist or a fucking genius to bring to y'all's attention what's being brought and been brought. So communist, 1841, as both a noun and adjective. From French communiste, from commune, Old French commune, quote, common, general, free, open, public, end quote. See common as the adjective. Plus este, see ist as the suffix. First attested in writing by John Goodwin Barmby, 1820 to 1841, British Owenite and utopian socialite who founded the London Communist Propaganda Society in 1841. What does that tell us? That in 1841, in London, there's a society that was founded called the Communist Propaganda Society. Main modern sense, an opponent of capitalism or supporter of revolutionary leftism, end quote, emerged after publication of Communist Manifesto. Manifest der Kommunistischen Partei in 1848. All communists, without exception, propose that the people as a whole, or some particular division of the people, as a village or commune, should own all the means of production, land, houses, factories, railroads, canals, etc. That production should be carried on in common, and that officers selected in one way or another should distribute among the inhabitants the fruits of their labor. That's Richard T. Ely. French and German Socialism in Modern Times, dated 1883, New York. Shortened from commie, as attested from 1939, Century Dictionary 1900, recognizes the noun alone as an adjective. It has only communistic, 1850, quote, relating to communists or communism. So let's just go here, because this is 1883. 1883, Richard T. Ely wrote, for New York, French and German Socialism in Modern Times is titled, where it is stated that all communists, without exception, propose that the people as a whole, or some particular division of the people, as a village or commune, should own all the means of production. Now listen to that. Should own all the means of production. Can you see the audacity of the want to be superiority
Dominant.
of these fools?
Want to be
Right?
dominant.
Because they feel that they could own the means of production of land,
But yeah, so easily submitted.
canals, so it's earth and water. No, you don't. Nature, the universe, the multiverse, the infinite verse, the galaxies, them's the ones that
Etc.
are the main means of production.
Things they have no clue
And
of.
pity,
Over
use,
Light years
whom
they suggest
has
away, but yet
disrespected
that's them creating that
our
shit. 'Cause they're afraid
Almighty,
of that.
which are rocks and minerals, right? All of the
Asteroids,
elements,
we're on a
the
big,
earth,
huge
the
rock.
water, the air, the fire, the wood, the metals, the spirit. So what does it say? It says to go to common. We're going to go ahead and go to common. 1300. So common as an adjective, in quotes, belonging to all, owned or used jointly, general, of a public nature or character. From Old French common, quote, common, general, free, open, public, end quote. 9th century, modern French commune, from Latin communer. In common, public, shared by all or many, general, not specific, familiar, not pretentious, end quote. This is from a reconstructed Proto-Indo-European compound, co-moine, held in common. Compound adjective formed from co, together, plus moyen, suffix form of root me in the first version, which is to change, go, move, hence literally shared by all. The second element of the compound also is the source of Latin munia. Duties, public duties, functions, end quote. Those related to munia, quotes, office. Perhaps reinforced in Old French by the Germanic form of Proto-Indo-European root meaning co-moine, compare German Gemien, Old English Gemne, common, public, general, universal. See mean as the adjective, which came to French via Frankish. Used disparagingly of women and criminals since 1300. Now, we're just gonna add that. Use disparagingly of men,
yeah.
women, and criminals, right? Because this is the thing here, peoples. I have had
been tricked into.
I've had the experiences
bamboozled
of
into having to slave for them.
Working with those in the field of hard labor. Right? The labor that these fools here feel that they have the right to distribute the fruits of.
Lack
those
full disclosure.
Majority
therefore, that
have been males
cheating.
That have been pressured into slaving for their fucked up ass system for what?
That murder systematically cows, pigs, and chickens.
The monetary means that have been created in order for them to
elephants and giraffes and gorillas,
them
dogs and cats,
the natural resources,
rats,
right?
Humans. All of them animals.
Let me just make sure that this is still recording.
That's to the fuck. That's their shit.
For them to covet the natural resources. So let me just give you an example here, right? So use your body's brilliant imagination. Take it back to before the monetary system existed, which is very easy. Before any religions existed, before any of that.
From like the 8th century.
Everybody was roaming around the planet, enjoying nature and all that nature provides to all living beings in abundance, right? So you have these bodies that come across some fresh
maybe the
water,
5th and 6th century.
Where all have been able to hydrate themselves. That the water is not contaminated, because all of those that hydrate themselves, they all know that this water is for that, right? But then you have these fools that come across it, nobody's around, so what do? They build up some stuff and they say, this is ours. If you want some of this clean water, you must first go to these people and they will give you something to give us in order for us to give you this water that was once given freely. However, we have coveted it. We are jacking it. And we are extorting you in order to get something that was given freely. So you can go over to these people.
And then contaminating it at that.
What? They are religious.
And then having you purchase that contaminated water that was once clean and given
holy
freely.
People, right? Also known as bankers, where they're keeping their, that's their temple of their, what they've created, their gold coins, right? It goes back to the Lydians, who first created the gold coins that would have wheat or grain on it. So you would take it to those who are coveting the grain area, but you only get these things from doing what? From slaving for them, from your priceless existence, whether animal or human. And remember, the animals naturally say, fuck you. We are not just slaves. We are not just slaves. We can be your friends, but we know who's an actual friend and who's not a friend. So, you got them that done did that, right? So, let's move on here. So we're just gonna, because we're getting over 20 minutes here with this discussion today, and we got some other things to do, so we don't want to keep it going for too long. So we're gonna go to the Proto-Indo-European root origin, the me, and this is the root origin, which is
formerly known as
by their own, the citing of it is technically a prefix, right? So what we're doing here, all of you, medicine, men and women, shamans, witches, if you will, sorcerers, you know, how we have to reverse these fucked up ass psychological
White
warfare
boy,
spells
also
that
known as white boy.
stolen things, and then they think that they're gonna get over on it.
Corona,
No.
honey,
So we got the
Mohawk,
Proto-Indo-European
smoky,
root,
cream puff,
meaning
lightning,
to change,
speedy,
go, move. End
cow,
quote. Quote, with derivatives referring to the
Arrowzena,
exchange of
marble,
goods and services within a society as regulated by
fox,
custom or
squirrel,
law. End quote. And that's cited by Watkins.
etc.
It forms all or part of these words. Okay? So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42, 44, 46 words, all derived from
46
the
trillion.
root, the Thai root meaning to change, go, or move, with derivatives referring to the exchange of goods and services within a society as regulated by custom or law. The root word is meh as the prefix M-E-I. Mice. It forms all or part of a myth, amoeba, azimuth, common, commune, communicate, communication, communism, commute, conji, demean, emigrate, immigration, excommunicate, excommunication, immune, immutable, incommunicado, mad, mean as the adjective in the first version, which is low quality, mew in the noun second version, which is cage, muse, and we're saying M-E-W and M-E-W-S. Migrate, migration, miss as the prefix in the first version, which is bad or wrong, mistake, mithras, molt, Mstislav, municipal, munificent, mutable, mutant, mutate, mutation, mutatus, mutandus, mutual, permeable, permeate, permutation, permute, remunerate, remuneration, transmutation, transmute, zenith. It is the hypothetical source of evidence for its existence is provided by Sanskrit mithati, which is changes, alternates, joins, meets. Avestan, mytho, in quotes, perverted, false. Hitati, mutau, quotes, be changed into, in quotes. Latin, muter, quotes, to change, in quotes. Mier, quote, to go, pass, in quotes. Migrare, quote, to move from one place to another, in quote. Mutuit, quote, done in exchange, in quote. Old Church Slavonic, might, equal, or excuse me, Old Church Slavonic might, quotes, alternatively, in quotes.
M-I-T.
Midzim, quote, to go by, pass by, in quotes. Polish, mijdak, quote, avoid, in quotes. Gothic, Majan, quote, to change, in quotes. So, just to end this real quick on two things. First, it says the hypothetical source of evidence for its existence. One of these, right? Old Church Slavonic. Slavonic, from the etymology, is the root origin of the word slave, which the original slaves, the very first slaves, come from Slovakia, Slavic, not Africa, not not Native America,
North
North
America.
America, not any other place other than Slovakia, by their own things.
The
All right?
origin of the word
And y'all
itself.
color-coded, stuck-ass individuals, why don't you check out and see which color code you want to put them in?
You see, it comes in
Because
different
again, I'm just
languages.
going to add this here to this discussion.
Other than English.
The whatever the word is, that is the invention of the classification of Homo sapiens into 3 categories, and we're going to do this in alphabetical order, right? We got the Caucasian body, the Mongolian body, and the Negroid body. That's the 3 that they started the classification from, okay? And I'll go ahead and just, because what we got here, so we have an hour, so we're going to just possibly take this conversation into an hour. So,
This discussion, this information, these evolutionary tools.
So here we go.
And evolutionary is the beginning. Revolutionary takes you back to wherever you wanting to revolt from. Takes you back to the origin of that. De-evolution, revolution, evolution. I'm sticking with the evolutionary tools.
So that's, what is it called though?
We is.
All right, so the concept of dividing humankind into 3 races, which is retarded, because different races cannot procreate. Fortunately, we don't have to ask any, unfortunately, we would not want to ask those, for instance, who was fucking Pony, the orangutan, who was kept captive in a prostitute village in Barlera.
Yeah, would we want to ask them why in the fuck they thought that was appropriate
psycho
behavior?
Fucking animal fuckers that fuck the animal race literally, sexually. They cannot procreate. So
that's red flags
let's
for
just keep on.
serial killers, psychopaths.
So
that we want to sort of look at
the concept of dividing
it
humankind into 3
what
races,
made them
and we're
be that
quoting
way.
this, okay? Called Caucasoid, Mongoloid, and Negroid, originally named Ethiopian,
humans
was
touching
introduced
their
in the
bodies
1780s by members
and
of the
then thinking that it was okay to touch the animal bodies because the animals at least are
developed by Western scholars
classified
in the
in the
context
human
of, quote,
value
racist
system of what they
ideologies during
feel,
the age of
which
colonialism.
is fucking weak as hell.
With the rise of the modern
disgusting,
genetics, the concept of distinct human races in a biological sense has become obsolete. In 2019, the American Association of Physical Anthropologists stated the belief in races as natural aspects of human biology and the structures of inequality, quotes in parentheses racism, that emerge from such beliefs are among the most damaging elements in the human experience both today and in the past, end quotes.
Was that the intent of them that created that?
There's an actual...
Or was it an experiment to see if they would fall for that?
Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, a scholar at the then modern Göttingen University, developed a concept dividing mankind into 5 races in the revised 1795 edition of his De Generis Humani Veritates Nativa, in parentheses, on the natural variety of mankind. Although Blumenbach's concept later gave rise to scientific racism, his arguments were basically anti-racist, since he underlined that mankind has a whole forms. So let's just get this straight here. Let's just get this straight. We're just taking all of these pieces of these puzzles out here, and we're trying to fit them together to get the fuck out. Get the fuck away
to see their picture and move the fuck on,
right?
And be like, okay,
we all are okay with the zombie apocalypse.
We're gonna take them puzzle pieces and we're gonna put them in a box. We're gonna gently put them in a nice little, biodegradable piece of fabric.
So we've got them originally starting with the 3 division of the Homo sapiens, right?
And let them
and that's from 1780s. Okay. Then
we got in 1795 the revised edition. They went ahead and they put it into 5 races, right? So let's just get this straight here. So what do we have? Let's just hold up here. Mind blowing. Dendrites popping off all kinds of directions.
Woohoo!
Yes, dendrites are like tree branches in your body's brain, in your body's central nervous system. It has the left hemisphere and the right hemisphere.
From Francois de Aiguillon's notion of the 5 primary colors. What are the 5 primary colors? Who are we going to use as the citing here? So think of primary colors, yellow, red, and blue, as the original parents of all the future generations of colors. Yellow, red, and blue. Would we look at yellow, red, and blue? Would we possibly be able to see them associating that? And this is, we're going off of
Right, because how could yellow turn into white?
Art Center. So I feel okay with citing them.
How could blue turn into black with red?
So let's see. So
blue
they
and red
originally
make purple.
categorized the Homo sapien bodies that have yet to evolve as those that have evolved much quicker because they were consuming vegetables and fruit and not the remains of murdered victims, right? So they associated and mind you, these numerical associations apply psychologically as well. So those of you who are paying attention to this, I am. So if nothing else, it's a reference from myself, okay? However, I don't mind sharing the enlightenment and the evolutionary tools for you to free yourself and to free others. So, we've got yellow, red, and blue. They created Caucasoid, Mongoloid, Negroid, also known as Ethiopian. So, yellow, red, and blue. I'm guessing they would have categorized red as the Caucasoid, yellow as the Mongoloid, and blue as the Negroid, also known as Ethiopian. Right? As the original parents of all the future generations of colors. Secondary colors, orange, purple, and green, are the children to the primary colors. Now,
that would be 6.
So, we got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. But there's 5. So, we're going to go here. We're going to go back up because we do have them citing the Francois de Aiguillon's notion of the 5 primary colors, which are white, yellow, red, blue, and black. White, yellow, red, blue, black. We can go black, blue, red, yellow, white. You want to do it alphabetically for y'all foolish individuals who are offensive, which I would expect is not. And if you are, get the fuck on. You have cheated to even watch this. And if you want to put your offensive energy out, take that shit the fuck on to a different planet as it's been commanded, right? So, got the white, yellow, red, blue, and black. 5 colors. The original primary colors, which we know they would have most likely said white for the Caucasoid, yellow for the Mongoloid, and then black for the Negroid, also Ethiopian. So then we got the 5. We went ahead and we've got Johan.
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
We've got Johan.
In their judicial system, that the prosecutor side would be the offensive side, the one that's committing the offense.
W.E.S.T.U.P.A.C, who later said that there was 5 races, not the 3. So then, okay, so we got here, so then we go. So all the W.E.S.T.U.P.A.C concepts, so we got everything, and points out that the transition from one race to another is so gradual that the distinctions between the races presented by him are very arbitrary.
They're committing offenses.
W.E.S.T.U.P.A.C counts that the inhabitants of North Africa among the Caucasian race, in quotes, grouping the other Africans as Ethiopian race. So hold up. And mind you, this is, I'm citing Wikipedia. And again, you know, I've compared Wikipedia's references to other sources' references, and when something makes sense, that's the truth. If it doesn't make sense, it's not the truth. So, we've got W.E.S.T.U.P.A.C counts the inhabitants of North Africa among the, quotes, Caucasian race, end quotes. And that's him counting the inhabitants of North Africa. Not South Africa, but North Africa. Among the Caucasian race, grouping the other Africans as Ethiopian race, which is also North Africa. In this context, he names the Abyssinians and Moors as peoples through which the Ethiopian race gradually flows together with the Caucasian race. Now, we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back to this in some form of fashion at another time. Namaste. Take a nice little smoke break. Do whatever you want to do. Contemplate on the information shared. Use it wisely.
Share
Ahum, hum,
freely.
hasvaha.
Wisdom,
Namaste.
mantras.
Remember, this mudra, very circular. This helps you with
The
creativity, the
juices.
contemplating the evolution of the body. Gotta make sure it's circular, okay? This mudra, gotta make sure it's together, right? Got all of these, okay? Namaste.